calm. We got a question for everybody out there. We're talking about Draymond Green and his value to the Golden State Warriors. You heard from Myers yesterday with Steiny and Goo. You heard from Steve Kerr on Willard and Dibbs right here on 95.7 The Game. Can the Warriors sustain this dynasty without Draymond Green? 888-957-9570. Would the Warriors be able to sustain this dynasty without Draymond Green? Now, Steve Kerr, when he joined Willard and Dibbs yesterday, this was on the TK podcast, Tim Kawakami, this quote right here. A lot of people are comparing this season to the Last Dance and what the Bulls did in 98. Well, here's what Steve Kerr said about that. Here's his thoughts on whether or not this is the Last Dance.
Well, we don't know what's next. This is not the Last Dance, like that was, it was made clear in Chicago that was going to be it. Phil was done and, everybody's contracts were up. That was going to be it. That's not the case here at all. I know that Joe would love to keep this thing going. He's been incredible in his financial commitment to keep this team strong and relevant for a decade. And he's always committed to that. And so I think there's a really good possibility that we, keep things going here. So there's no need to speculate or worry about anything going forward because we have plenty to concern ourselves with right now, just trying to win and prepare for the playoffs.
This is not a Last Dance situation because he believes they can keep this thing going now. 888-957-9570. Shameless shout out 745. Don't forget about that. Line them up for that. What do you think about that quote, Shasky?
I agree with him. I think conceptually, knowing that everybody's contract is up at the end of the year and the coach coming out and saying this is my last year with the team for the Bulls I'm talking about, that creates there's a finality here. This one feels more like Spin the Wheel or Wheel of Fortune or something like that, right? You know what I mean? Spin the wheel. We win it all. Okay, let's try to keep everyone here. Spin the wheel. Does Draymond want to stay? Okay, what's the price point? Spin the wheel. We lose in the first round. Anything's on the table. This one feels more like a Jack in the Box. I'm not sure when the musical chairs, as I go 15 different cliches here, is going to stop, and I don't know what the results are going to be. But I think in a weird way, isn't this a little more compelling than a Last Dance scenario? Because everything feels like it's on the table.
Well, Bob Myers, obviously,
right?
No contract after the end of the season. Kerr with 1 year left.
Yes.
Draymond with the player option. After next season, Klay Thompson will be an unrestricted free agent.
Young guys.
What do you do with the young guys? Extending Kuminga. What do you do with Moses Moody?
Does Wiggins come back?
Right. Well,
there's a whole, we haven't even gone
different.
Down the rabbit hole. There is an entire Pandora's box of Wiggins questions that don't feel appropriate for right now.
No doubt about that. So the calls are lining up here. 888-957-9570. I'm wondering, can the Warriors sustain this dynasty without Draymond Green moving forward? He's having a spectacular season. 13 assists the other night against the Pelicans. He went crazy. Went crazy in the first half. No doubt he almost lost that game. The Pelicans going to 8-0 run once he got benched, but once he got back into the game, you saw that fire lit. And a lot of those players, look, we're not in that locker room. But when Steph Curry comes out on the podium and says he lit the fire, how can I disagree with that? No. They're in that locker room. Let's go to May Buddy in Oakland. May Buddy's back. And you know what, May Buddy? I'll say this as I say good morning. A couple people sent me some pictures of me in a blue suit, and you're right. It's not just me blending into the blue couch. It's Bully, too. We all blend into the couch. Hey, buddy, good morning.
All right, top of the morning.
Top of the morning,
my people. What's up?
Hey,
You're
buddy,
now a legend.
You are a legend in these streets.
Yes.
You know that, right?
Oh, my bad.
No, what are you apologizing for? It's good to be a legend.
All right. So first of all, I'm going to answer your question. No, to the Draymond Green, all that this nonsensical talk that you guys have going on. We.
Damn, man.
Let's keep Draymond exactly where he's at. I don't know what y'all talking about.
We're not saying move on from Draymond Green. No. Let's get it straight, May buddy. Don't accuse us. We're not saying move on from Draymond Green. But with all the rhetoric this year and all the conversation about Draymond and the player option, we're just asking if fans believe they can sustain this dynasty without Draymond Green. And I'm having a hard time believing that they can sustain the dynasty without Draymond Green.
And I just answered your question. I said no.
Okay, all right, cool. So, all right.
No, we're going to keep him exactly where he at.
All right.
And I just wanted to say, actually, I called this morning just to say, like, how dope, like, Dub Nation is, like, and to, like, just to chime in on that because, like, this is the best team that you can be on. Like, these fans, us fans, me, you, Shasky, you know, we love this. Every player that joins this team, we love them. Like we take them in like fam. So, like, don't go anywhere, you know, like you're in a safe place. And that's why we love Wiggins. Like, ain't nobody mad at him. Like, you know, like do your thing, do what you have to do to be better. Like, we genuinely care about our people. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to spread some love this morning to all y'all, and Draymond ain't going nowhere. So you guys can stop this.
You know what, B? It's funny, and I know.
Thanks, mate. Money. Thanks, mate. Money.
Yeah, you're gonna roll your eyes at me, B. You're gonna. I'm just gonna say it on the front end. You're gonna roll your eyes at me, and you're gonna say, "Oh, look at you equating yourself." I'm not equating myself to Draymond Green, but what I'm going to say is, it takes one to know one. I'm pretty irrational. I'm pretty passionate. I do some wild things, and I have to walk it back and apologize to people later. But the people that are in my life, they love me dearly. And when I play ball, whatever it is, I tend to have explosions left and right amongst my own teammates. And people from afar go, I would never want to play with that guy. But guys that play on my team will say, I do kind of love some of the craziness that this guy brings to the table.
Depends on the day.
From afar, I view Draymond, and this is me being totally honest, and I go, oh my God, is that what I look like from afar sometimes? And I go, people probably want to kill me and wouldn't want to put up with it. And then there are other times where I'm like, I can't live without this guy. And so it's kind of like it takes one to know one.
I've tried to think about living my radio life without you. I go back and forth.
Exactly.
It drives me crazy. My hairline has been pushed back because of you, Shasky. Just know I've receded more the last 2 years working with you and picked up more gray hairs.
And you've never had more success.
Probably not. Those are facts. Joe in San Jose. What's happening here on the roast?
Hey, guys. Absolutely, the Warriors can win without Draymond. They don't need him. They proved it last year.
Whoa, Made Money disagrees with it, Joe.
I love this.
I do love
it. They proved it last year. He was a non-factor. He's a one-way player. He put too much stress on Curry and Clay. They have to work hard to get open because he's no threat on offense. He's just a one-way player. I think they need to put Kuminga in. They need to put the other Green in, but they definitely can win without Draymond Green. That's my take on that.
Well, and 408 here on the Comcast Business text line says, Made Money doesn't speak for everybody. I wouldn't mind seeing Draymond gone. I don't like his antics. I actually like the Made Money better than Made Money. That's pretty cool.
Can I ask you an X's and O's type of a question here?
Sure.
Is there any redundancy in terms of positional fit as you start to forecast, not this year, but next year and beyond, if you have to make a decision between Clay and Draymond in terms of their positional fit on the floor together? I'm asking from an X's and O's as Clay can, because you heard Kerr allude to this. He's transitioned more to a 3-4 at times. Does it become clunky when you have Clay and you have Kavon under contract for the time being and you have Kuminga? Are you worried at all that maybe Draymond on the floor offensively or defensively is maybe limiting some of the other players you have on the roster, or is that not a consideration? I'm asking the question just generally out loud.
So, I mean, I guess...
Do you get where I'm going?
I guess what you're saying is if you have Looney and Draymond Green, does that compromise the court? Does that congest the court and limit the spacing that Klay Thompson and Steph Curry needs? And at times, yes, it can be congested on that floor in the half court when Draymond and Looney's on the floor because teams will say, hey, the Lakers, Willie Green with the Pelicans.
Yes.
There's a lot of teams, good teams, that say, Draymond, go ahead and shoot it.
Yes.
And we saw that in the 2019 finals with Nick Nurse in Toronto where Iguodala and Draymond was on the floor together, and Nick Nurse said, go ahead, shoot it. You got no problems. And Draymond committed 30 turnovers in that series. So that's why I like the one big lineup.
Yeah,
when you go to one big and you split up Looney and Draymond, all of a sudden now you're cooking with hot grease.
But
now,
can you go Draymond as the lone big for a whole regular season?
You can't.
In the playoffs, I think you can do it.
You can't maybe you could do it in stretches.
Okay.
You don't want to do it because it is taxing on Draymond Green, and that could be tough on them. And I think Draymond Green at times maybe is not pleased with being alone, being a playing the five, because he understands that, man, I'm doing a lot of banging on my back, my knees, I'm banged up here.
Yeah, it's taking off the back end of my career.
No doubt about it. Now, also, you look at the other night, and from an X's and O's standpoint, I've been eager to see how Draymond and Kuminga work together. And at times, they don't work well together. But in that fourth quarter against the Pelicans,
it was dynamic.
You saw Draymond and Kuminga work really well together on the back end, while you had Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry there on the perimeter. That worked really well. So can that line up in the future work well together? We know Draymond Green and Wiggins can work well together, but at times you're still a little too small. So from an X's and O's standpoint, when you have Draymond and Looney on the floor at the same time, it does hurt. However, you see in Game 6 against Memphis, and you say, okay, it can work. So you got to pick and choose from an X's and O's standpoint on when to deploy Draymond Green and another big together who can't space the floor.
When I'm looking at this from, let's say Bob Myers stays, or whoever the GM of the Warriors, and Joe Lacob and Steve Kerr, if I'm looking at it from their perspective, if Draymond opts in for just the 1 year, I almost feel an obligation to extend him because I would like to shape the roster with some certainty, knowing it's a multi-year deal, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I want to go into another year of uncertainty and then have a roster that has so many questions. Like, I would want to know what my next couple of years landscape is looking like. And I know the Klay thing is out there too. Like, I think it makes it. I think we underrate how difficult it is fielding the team around guys when you don't know if someone's going to stay, when you don't know if you are going to be able to lock someone up into a multi-year deal.
Well, or you could go into next season and say, okay, Draymond, you're going to opt in. Klay Thompson's got an expiring deal, and now we really see how we can shape this roster. How do you play during a contract year?
I hadn't considered that.
And you have Poole and Wiggins under contract as well, especially if you go on a deep playoff run. And then you say, okay, next season, how do you look?
So now
are they aging overnight? Now you have a lot more flexibility with the salary slots. And you can maybe do some sided trades, maybe extend Klay Thompson. How does it look next season?
That feels so baseball-like.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't it?
It does feel baseball-like. And you put the pressure on Draymond Green to perform. You put the pressure on Klay Thompson to perform for that multi-year extension. It all depends on the opt-in. Does Draymond Green want to opt in for one more year, or does he want that extension now? The way he's playing, it looks like he wants that extension now.
So what if he came to you and he said, I wanted a 3-year deal or I'm out?
Depends how this year ends, right? It depends how it
Does
ends.
the money matter to you at all?
If it's 20 a year, I don't mind it. I mean, Draymond's value to this organization and to this team, isn't it worth at least 20 a year?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that the salary cap's going to go up when they get the Apple Plus or the whatever the new streaming deal is, because they're going to have a streaming deal. I think that the max salary is going to go from whatever it is, $50 million at the apex to like $75 million. So that $20 million deal for Draymond doesn't look bad at all. I think 2, 3, 4 years from now. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm doing. If he told me 3 years for $65 million, $70 million, I think I'm doing that yesterday.
Now I want to make sure that everybody's following us here. We're discussing Draymond Green. I don't want to make